The recording is in progress. Floor is yours.
Father in heaven, it is once more again that we, thy children, come before thee, asking thee for mercy and grace, and asking thee to give us forethought and allow us to deal with the project as you have set before us. We realize that it is predestined, preordained. All we need, Father, is your direction, and we'll be willing to follow your direction as you set forth. We ask you to have mercy upon all of us that are ailing, all of us that are sick, all of us that need mercy and grace. Give us healing grace, O Lord. Put your hands of mercy and let it be stayed over us as we go through this day and as we complete the project that you have put in our hands to complete. We thank you, and we honor thee. We give you the honor and the grace. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Aho.
Amen. So, Michael, I'm going to share my screen briefly. And if you could be so kind as to walk us through a little background on the Buffalo Soldier Study while I do my housekeeping and get things in order.
Okay. So the screen that's about to be shown is the product of a congressional Buffalo Soldier Study that was many, many years in the making. And of course, it's the Congress, so it went through both houses and signed by the president, and then the study began. The methodology of the study, it's all in the study, it's 80 pages. In last year, well, no, it wasn't last year, year before last, Veterans Day, it was officially released. And it was, I mean, literally, it was more than an act of Congress because the various levels of approval for the study to actually be released to the public was beyond compare. And thankfully, because of the elevated stature of the folks that were there at the Colonel Charles Young Memorial Highway dedication, bipartisan support, several levels, the highest level in Natural Park Service, people from all over the United States were there in California to dedicate the highway. The leadership of the Omega fraternity, leadership of government, multiple levels. And this is on the backdrop of President Obama, Oprah Winfrey, and Sheldon Johnson, really highlighting the legacy of the Buffalo Soldiers in Sequoia, preserving the largest living organism on planet Earth. And then, so also, like right now, the fires that are raging throughout California, the reservoirs completely depleted with water, the canopy is not in good shape, and the methodology to preserve that was recommended by Charles Young and the engineers that worked with him, both public and private, the best minds to preserve it for future generations. That was not adhered to, still not being adhered to. And we see the outcome of that. At the same time, we're dealing with, we'll just call it climate change, because, I was born and raised here. This is nothing new, in terms of it being hot. But what is new is the fluctuation in temperatures and the level of, I would just say, the level of fires and lack of water in the reservoir. I've never seen it. And to the history of, since they've been keeping records in California, nobody else has seen it. So that is the backdrop. And it's an 80-page read, and it's a quick read. However, it's a reference document that shows the recommendations of all those that participated, and they were wise beyond measure, saying that this is by no means an exhaustive study. Is what the best information at the time, and it's being augmented as we speak. because a lot of people are coming on both sides of the aisle, coming together simply because the park rangers initially were military men, and it's easier to do that in a bipartisan way. At the very time, just today, we're having hearings on one of the blips that happens when we don't, take a look and see when things don't go right, how do you fix them? And so that's, what happened earlier this year at the U.S. Capitol. So National Buffalo Soldier Day is in statute, in public law, and it is not something that is widely known. And this year is it's really a new beginning in a lot of ways. There's just a plethora of energy and excitement about tomorrow from sea to shining sea and around the world, where the United States Army and Navy, and now there's other energy, the Space Force we just seen last week, where folks is with a lot of money are back in space, private capital. So now it's public-private partnership at the outer reach of the atmosphere that surrounds the Earth. They didn't quite get out into outer space, but they certainly have demonstrated the capacity to get to the edge of the atmosphere of the United States. So it's going to be very interesting to see, no different than what we saw in the movie Black Panther. There's no stretch of the imagination to see that folks was on Rhinoceros, and the general had just happened to be the wife of one of the brothers who was fighting in that war, and it was clear the animal, as well as her, I guess you would say, courage and discipline, that she would kill her own husband for, righteousness, the right reason for what her duty is as an officer. And that's kind of the valor, the courage of Colonel Charles Young and many others. I mean, he's the focal point because of the legacy he left in California, leading the escort, the honor guard for President Teddy Roosevelt. And that's the impetus of the energy that we're dealing with today. That's kind of a rough outline of the Buffalo Soldier study. It's a congressional study for the entire United States that was Jackie Speier and many others in California kind of with the tip of the spear, but of course there was bipartisan support from throughout the United States. So I'll stop there, and we could, I'm not sure if Herschel's there, or I guess I could look. No, he's not there. Well, okay, so tonight, I believe at midnight, we're going to begin. I'm calling it a marathon now because I don't know how long we're going to go. It's going to be interesting to see how this works. So I mean, in terms of for this call for organizational purposes, I haven't been able to see, and I need to give another email that interacts with Google. My Yahoo account doesn't allow me to get into the Google Docs, so I'm gonna have to figure that piece out. I don't know. Well, Herschel probably had to send that, but it's urbanagriculture@gmail is another one to get to me, so I could see what is on the schedule. What I know is 8:30 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow, and I need to get to the email. But who are confirmed is the superintendent at Colonel Charles Young National Monument in Ohio, Ravi Kelly, who is the daughter of Renata Young, family of Charles Young. They're just waiting for the right time slot. But they're certainly well aware of the time. Sheldon Johnson, same thing. We're just trying to fit in the time slot. Sheldon is working from home. He is park ranger at Yosemite. Rick Penn, who's a former park ranger, he's at park ranger at Presidio. He will be on site in San Francisco at the at Union Square, and earlier in the day he's available. There's park rangers at the Presidio. Eric, I forget Eric's last name, but Eric has been assigned. There are a number of levels of various agencies in San Francisco that are waiting for their slot. We just have to assign them. They're all excited. Presidio Trust. There's Park Conservancy. We haven't got confirmation from the elected officials in the city. However, the folks that were certainly a part of the naming of the Colonel Charles Young Highway, as well as the Buffalo Soldier Highway going into Yosemite, they want to be a part of it. We haven't. This is more. They're willing and able. So those are possibilities. The challenge is that when we started this, it was smaller, and now it's getting a lot bigger. And unfortunately, the focus is multi-pronged, which is okay, but the idea is to be respectful to the legacy of the Buffalo Soldiers, give them their day, National Buffalo Soldier Day, and a full understanding of how they came into being, what was their contribution, and how did it dissolve the Buffalo Soldiers, the segregated cavalry as well as infantry, and how today the leadership of the Secretary of Defense is a product of that salient contribution to the forward flow of humanity, as well as the superintendent of West Point. So there's a rich history to tell, and we have a whole day to do it, but there's a lot of competing, I guess you would say, complementary in some cases just diversionary efforts to distract from National Buffalo Soldier Day. So I'll stop there and let's see where else we go with conversation.
Well, thank you, Michael. This is Andrew. All of my computers are down, so I have to come in on my phone.
Okay.
Technology is only great when it works. So if you'd be so kind, if we could just use this time to give a round of introductions, starting with Bernice and the ladies. And then by the time we get through, I should be up and running. But then we'll go right into the presentation. So Bernice, please begin with the introduction and pass along to the other ladies. Thank you.
Thank you, Elder. My name is Bernice C. Atchison of Jemison, Alabama. I am the president of the Friends of the African Union, FAU SmartWise Community Reinvestment Coalition of Chilton County. In 1976, I was appointed as the jury commissioner by Governor George C. Wallace. I held that position for 13 years in the state of Alabama. I was also appointed by Secretary of State Don Siegelman as deputy registrar, a position that I held for 8 years. In 2004, I was called to testify in the Pickford 1 case. I represented the peoples in our county and had been left out of the lawsuit. This became a quest, a journey for justice for 66,000 Black farmers who were denied entry into Pickford. I am a B1 legacy farmer claimant. I own my own farm, and I have 3 daughters who also individually own farms, and we are working collectively to ensure our family legacy. I also do clerical work and home care for people's in need, both medically and mentally. This work allows those peoples to be taken care of at home and to live with their dignity in their own home. I'm the secretary of the Rising Star Association of the County of Chilton County that aid and assist about 200 members in times of need. When people die, sometimes they don't have enough money to bury their loved one. And we have an organization whereby if they are part of it, we aid and assist them. I'm also the secretary of our church and have been the secretary of the church for about 35 years. I was also a substitute teacher for the Chilton County, state of Alabama. I work in our school system, and I am an advocate for all of our peoples in Chilton County. I seem to be the go-to person when times get tough or you don't know where to go or where to turn. So by the grace of God, he has led me and given me the knowledge to be able to reach out and touch others, and I'm thankful.
Thank you so much. And Elder, when you come in, could you be so kind as to grace us with a prayer? I did notice you there. So Elder, are you there? Prophet?
Yes, I'm here. I thought we had an opening prayer. You said do a prayer, I'm sorry.
Yes, if you would be so kind. I would certainly appreciate that if you'd be so kind.
Okay. Let's take a moment again and let's take a moment, first of all, just to give our thoughts and hearts and minds to tomorrow's commemoration of the Buffalo Soldiers, the ancestors that have gone before us in battle, for the work that they did, and for the work that I believe continues to occur. God of our hearts, God of our understanding, God of our realization, enlighten our hearts and minds so we can grow in a better understanding of the things you would have us to do, the solutions that we need to work. Inspire us, guide us, provide us with resources, provide us with not only financial resources, but physical resources, expand our capacity to do what we have not been able to do before, strengthen the tissues and the organs, give them longevity, dear God, so that we can continue to walk this walk and pass it on to the next generation, something that's established, something that's strong, something that they'll be able to sustain. Let us pass on the knowledge that we're gleaning from these experiences. We ask for your blessings upon each and every person that's been doing this work for many, many years and for a long time maybe didn't see the light of day, but we thank you now that they do, and we ask you to sustain them well into their late elder years so that they can see the light and see the glory and see the results that they've labored for so long. We ask these blessings in the name of whoever each one considers holy and sacred. And I say in the name and through the power of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. And also for Rehearsal to feel better. He's at the hospital. And Andrew said, so prayers for Rehearsal.
Well, that included Herschel. That's why I said the organs and the tissues. And
no, I understand. I'm just using his
okay.
name. That's all.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Okay, Mary, I believe I saw you come in. Could you be so kind as to introduce yourself?
Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary with Watch Democracy Grow. I'm so sorry. I had other Zoom meeting, but I was like, I'm not going to wave without reaching here. So that's why I'm late. Yeah.
Well, you're always on time. So thanks. And please introduce yourself to those of our audience who don't know you, please? Thank you. And your organization.
Oh, I tended to assume that now by now we know each other.
But yes, so we have new audience members on Facebook that
Aha.
have never, and also I've invited new guests, so they know nothing about you. So
Oh,
do it like
okay.
we call this a Hollywood do-over.
Glad to do that. Yes, I am the coordinator for Watch Democracy Grow, an organization whose mission is to integrate democracy on the continent. But then I was telling the people that we have also to focus here now in terms of civic engagement and more on women empowerment. And so youth, basically, that's where so far you would say our areas. We usually do it through conferences. We started around 2016. Every year we have annual conferences, seminars, we have working groups that currently we charged ourselves with an idea that today I was on the conference on corporate council on doing business with Africa. And the idea everybody was talking about was like, well, Africa needs more recovery. And I was like, well, we are really advocating for the Marshall Plan for Africa, if at all it can work. So yeah, in short, that's who I am.
And the name of your organization?
Watch Democracy Grow.
And again, if you could be so kind as to type into the chat.
Yeah,
Every
yeah,
day
sure.
we have new people there. Thank
Yeah,
you so
sure.
much. Thank you so much.
And Elder, Elder didn't explain her background.
Well, yes, okay, we'll get back to that. Let me get through. Carla Adams came up next. So Carla, then Kenya. Please introduce yourselves. If not Carla, then Kenya.
Yes, this is Carla. I'm here. Yeah, so I'm the daughter of Bernard and Ava Bates, their oldest child. And as I was stating yesterday, that my dad is a Black farmer. We live in the historic town and township of Nicodemus, Kansas. And so, yeah, like back in the 80s, my dad was foreclosed on, and so his land and equipment and crop and everything was all taken away. And so it was just, it's been a struggle for us. And so we've been attending the African diaspora meetings and just hoping that with the Biden administration and, you know, with what Herschel Daniel has going on, that hopefully we'll be able to get some money soon. I do have a question. I'm wondering how, you know, we know what Zoom you guys are connecting on. I mean, tonight I was having trouble trying to figure out where you guys were, and finally we did find you, but yeah, I don't know how I can keep up with that.
Well, the great news is that I've got echo here. Hold on.
You're breaking up.
I have an echo here. Give me just a moment. I have an echo here. Give me just a moment. I have an echo here. Give me just a moment.
Do you need just a moment? Carla, this is John Moss. I'll just jump in until he gets his technology. He's having technology challenges, it sounds like. But yes, this channel at 6 o'clock is supposed to take place of the other meeting that we were having with Herschel. And so this link is through August something. I don't know the exact date. I'll look it up again. But it's this time, 6 o'clock Oklahoma time, 7 o'clock Eastern time, and then Pacific Standard 4 o'clock every night until August. Again, I'd have to look it up, but it is for the next, continuing of at least a few days, and I'll find the dates again for you, for everybody. Okay.
Okay, you said through sometime in August?
Yes, that's my understanding. I'll look up the date and I'll get that right back to you real quick. Okay. While we're still
Okay.
on. Andrew apparently still trying to get back on.
Okay. I didn't know maybe if they actually even started late, because I went and registered and did all of that. And when, when we tried to connect, I don't think that it really went through. Yeah, my mom claims
He was having some challenges, and we were waiting for Michael to join before Andrew wanted to open it up to everybody. So we were about 10-15 minutes late tonight.
Oh, okay. Okay, maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, because that happened to me too. I called him. So yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you. Did they say that Herschel's in the hospital?
Yes, don't know why Andrew said he was there, but I know he had something going on with his foot. So hopefully it's just a checkup, but I don't know.
Oh,
But
okay.
he said he was going to be getting on. So I'm hoping it's, not dramatic.
Right, yeah, me too. Okay, yes, thank you.
So Kenya, he wanted you to go next, and then I guess back to Elder Prophet until we get there. But I see Elder put a lot of her information, which is great, in the chat. Everyone should do that. But what a bio. That's awesome. So Kenya, if you don't mind, go ahead.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Kenya Cox, and I serve as the Kansas State Conference of NAACP branches president. And also, along with Prophet Cox, we are two of the 15 commissioners that are designated to represent the United States. We're charged with organizing events and information related to 400 years of African American history in this nation. I'm also an associate elders for the Council of Elders, and serve in many different other organizations across the United States. But my passion is history. I'm honored to be on the call tonight with one of the descendants from the historic Nicodemus, which we will be there this coming weekend. We have worked with Miss Jonella Holmes and the Kansas Black Farming Association to introduce legislation, and then also to make sure that they are have opportunity to meet with our federal delegation and partners, both our senators and our congressmen for the state of Kansas. So excited to be here and to be a part of tonight's discussion, and just look forward to all that we are learning about how we can work together collectively to work together to maximize our collective impact. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you, John, for adding in the chat there. I'll put the link where you can actually register to attend any of these events. They'll be happening between now and August 28th. So you can decide which of those dates you would like to participate with. And you'll be provided a link so that everyone can participate at a time convenient for you. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Andrew. And just to add to that, Ms. Cox, I also put the link to Nicodemus' website for the upcoming event as well. So it's in there as far as activities and where to stay and so forth. There are some activities that aren't on that. It's the website, but I just wanted to touch on that as a lot of people are going to Nicodemus.
Well, now that I'm back, I don't know who else has not had a chance to introduce himself. Phil Fixico, did you have a chance to introduce yourself?
Not yet. We were still going to go back to Elder Cox.
Okay, very well. Then I'll be quiet and let the introductions proceed. Thank you.
This is Elder Anyanwu Cox, Elder Prophet Anyanwu Cox, called prophet because I received the prophet calling from God to be a prophet. And I'm a seer. I wanted to take part of my time, though I do introduce myself every night and brag for a few minutes. Maybe it's not bragging, maybe it's just giving an addendum to what Associate Elder Kenya Cox said. She also works on the 400 Commission as the chair of the Education Committee. So she's worked with over 400, and she can correct me on this, youth around education, Black history, but she has a particular, and is it too early to say it, Kenya, a project that's actually happening from outer space?
No, it is not. We're still working on the details of that. She shared, I'm the education chair. We are bringing our student ambassador for our education. Our student ambassador is also, she's serving as the first inaugural Miss Juneteenth, and she will be here in Kansas at the Nicodemus event. Additionally, one of our initiatives that we have been working on is STEAM education, STEM education with our youth, understanding that that is the frontier of the future, and making sure that our young people are acclimated and have every opportunity to understand the sciences and engineering. And we have an opportunity to work with NASA and some of the astronauts, and I'm right now, the doctor is escaping my name. Her name is escaping my memory. She is on her way to space, and she is going to actually conduct an education opportunity with our young people from space. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. It is just escaping me. Give me just a second, and I'll make sure that I put that.
Does it start with an E?
Yes, I want to say it's Dr. Epps, but I'm not.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Epps, but I wanted to make sure that I had that. We're working out the logistics of that, but she will actually conduct an education session with our young people from space. So we're pretty excited about the work that we are doing. This past year, we did a lot of education around advocacy and social justice and civic engagement. And very exciting times for the 400 Years of African American History Commission.
So that didn't say a lot about me, except I'm on there too. So,
Well,
well, the first year, I was able to partner with some groups across the country to do an International Day of Drumming and Healing, realizing that my big deal is healing, mind, body, and spirit. And that if we can really get a handle on mental and emotional healing, I have personally in my 71 years seen people healed almost miraculously, having addressed some mental, emotional issues, one big one being unforgiveness and resentment. Our bodies don't respond very well to it, but that's another story. So I've done, and again, I have to apologize because I'm still dealing with some issues around my sister and working on my own issues of advocacy for that. I'm the parent of a person with special needs that they promised me wouldn't live past his first birthday, and he's now 34. So a lot of my years up until about 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, was really advocating for them not to, every chance I looked up, to do surgery on him or something. So he's made it this far without any of that. And now I'm doing my sister, but I've done community work. I had a fellowship to study HIV in California, to be able to do better advocacy with that. So I do all kinds of advocacy. I'm trained. I'm trained. And so I'm actually past the point that I mean, I like training, but I have so much training and holistic, I'm like ready to see something happen.
Mrs. Cox's, both of you, I'd recommend you contact Mary, and Mary as well, because of her work with the youth. I mean, a lot of us do, but she's directly doing a lot of that. So just a quick FYI network.
Thank you so much, John. The next person to introduce themselves, now's that time.
That should be Elder Phil.
Elder Phil Fixico, are you there? And if not, John, I don't know if you did your introduction, but perhaps you can do so.
Sorry. Hello, everybody. I'm sorry, I
There you
forgot
go.
to unmute it.
Okay.
I'm Trooper Phil Fixico, 17-year member with the LA chapter, greater chapter of the Buffalo.
Phil, we see your ceiling, but not you. Is that your intent?
Yeah, that is. That is.
Okay, go right ahead.
Okay. And it's been a trying day. But anyway, I'm 17 years with the greater Los Angeles chapter of the Buffalo Soldiers. And good. Okay. And thank you. And it's nice to meet everybody.
And you're part Seminole as well, correct?
Yes, I am. I'm a Seminole Maroon descendant and activist. And in 2019, I attended the Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues at the United Nations as a Maroon representative from the Maroon Women Chamber of Cooperation. I primarily work with the Maroon communities in the diaspora, and so not as much with the indigenous. But I do have, I am able to join the Seminole Nation as a by-blood, but I'm standing in solidarity with my cousins who have the same genealogy, but they don't have the documentation that I have. I was featured in the Smithsonian Institution Indivisible African Native Americans in the Americas book and exhibit, and my family represented the Seminole Maroon. My story, the only interesting part is my identity was stolen while I was in my mother's stomach. She stole it, bless her heart. She had her reasons, but I didn't find out who I was until I was 52 years old. I'm 74 now. And I became an activist and have been very active as such. That's enough for me.
Well, thank you, Bill. And I would just, I understand there may be other billings, but there's, if you want to get recognized, that would be great. And the Seminole Nation, obviously I've worked with them for decades, are a great nation and doing a lot of great things. As I've mentioned before, everybody can join their free webinars on education and finance and procurement, etc. They are free. So price is right. Also, Bill, just FYI, John Wilson is on our board of directors. He's a Maroon, and he's also the former manager of the Jacksons, all the Jackson family. And he himself is from Sly and the Sticks on Soul Train, etc. And he's in the LA area.
Great.
But have you worked with him or met him yet? If not,
No, I haven't.
yeah,
I
I'll later on we'll follow up because I still need to with you. But so I'm John Moss. I'm a member of the Caddo Indian Nation. My grandfather was Michael Martin, Chief Silver Moon, the last recognized traditional chief of the Caddo Indian Nation out of Oklahoma. World-renowned Indian artist, stories and paintings. He's world-renowned for Oil on Velvet, self-taught. And he's also the first Native American to get a reoccurring role in Andrew's word, Hollywood, or silent films way back when. And he's so with that, I'm carrying on to the best of my ability our family legacy as a founder. Robert, you're not muted.
Randall and Serena, the Centaur Warrior.
I'm barely getting on. I'm trying to unmute it.
All right, good.
I'm gonna try to mute it.
Just 32 years old, Officer Hodges is a member of the MPD Civil Disturbance.
Good knowing you're there, though.
Yeah. Did I mute yet?
No, sir.
Yeah. Hold on.
I'm sure you have.
There you are. Okay, you're muted. Thank you. So I founded a nonprofit Cash Community Development. We've been partnered since Andrew introduced myself to Herschel Daniels, because a lot of the similar things that FAU have been working towards, I'd been working towards in my team with the Native American indigenous people. And so obviously like-mindedness is like, hey, let's partner and keep networking together, because we have a lot of synergies that as an army we can get more accomplished. So that's what I've been working towards, and us doing, and heading up the Indigenous Peoples Plan that you hear Herschel and the Black Folks Plan being presented. And we spoke at the United Nations back in May 20th of 2016. Herschel Daniels and Queen Mother Blakely graced us to help us get in there credential wise and so forth. And then Jay Winter Nightwolf with the Black Native American Indian Congress, because of a lot of the mixed bloodlines that we all have. He's representing and doing his part there. So we did that. And then again, as April 29th, we presented again at the United Nations. And on my website, which the link's in the chat, you can actually see the actual presentation of what was presented. It's about 162 pages of documentation and information. And so we're carrying on with that. I'm also the president of the Southwest Chapter Native American Indian Chamber of Commerce, and working to grow and expand that in business, not just nationwide, but worldwide. And you don't have to be Native American to be a member. There's many non-natives as members, but again, like-mindedness. So that is a quick and brief. Oh, my main background is banking and finance, and the book I wrote is The Millionaire Loan Officer. So I'm world renowned in housing and banking and finance, financial literacy, which is my passion. Like Ms. Cox was talking about, or both of the Coxes, regarding education and proper foundation. So too many of the world is not properly brought up to speed on what the challenges are. And if you better understand it, it's not a complicated world. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, Robert Binion, it seems that you made your appearance very, very audible. So perhaps you could now unmute and introduce yourself, Mr. Binion.
Hold on. Did I get it?
Congratulations.
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
I'm Robert R. Shelby Binion from Clanton, Alabama. I'm a farmer for 60 some years, and wife and three kids. And I've also been an entrepreneur. I've had 3 or 4 businesses. I've ran for several offices and hadn't won any, but I trust in God. So I just, and I'm with the 4L. I'm the vice president of the 4L. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, thank you. So Michael Harris, I'm gonna bring this back around to you, Mr. Harris. We really need to kind of get to work on an action plan for tomorrow. So Mr. Harris, if you're able to unmute yourself, I'd like you to come back. And I think we're gonna wind this up and get to the work of the matter. But Michael Harris, are you able to unmute yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, it's well, let me just say this. There is a wealth of experience on the call, and it is almost criminal that the cognition of why and how and when we became human beings in the Western Hemisphere is the dis-ease that we continue to face in 2021. And the notion of executive order that President Lincoln signed in the midst of a civil war is the first documented place where we're actual human beings if we pick up a gun and save this nation. And the reward for that was being able to solely join the military and still treat it like less than a human being, but as long as you are doing the bidding of manifest destiny, where white men run everything, we were given a greater measure of humanity. And that's what we did. And that unfortunately manifests itself today, that we don't know what it is, that we don't celebrate it as a people. And as we know, Kansas and Louisiana were the headquarters of those U.S. colored troops that became part of the 2 cavalry units and 2 infantry units that became known as the Buffalo Soldiers. And we still have this dichotomy on what it really means and how that history plays out. We have yet to have adult conversations about it. HR 40 at the congressional level is trying to ferret that out. Here in California, the only statutory state that has begun finally to study it. They have 2 meetings to take a look at this as adults. And we, the Bible says, when I was a child, I spoke as a child. When I became a man, I put away childish things. And we as a people have not put away childish things. So tomorrow, it's a new opportunity to take a look at the Buffalo Soldiers in real time from various parts of the United States. We'll be centered at the place that's called Union Square in the 31st state, the heart of the richest real estate in California, arguably maybe the United States. I don't do that math, y'all business people do. So tomorrow we're going to be at 8:30 in the morning. The action plan for this evening, I don't know how we starting at midnight, but we'll figure that out. But tomorrow is certainly we have the ear of the National Park Service from throughout the nation. Probably will be graced with somebody from Washington, D.C., I'm certain. There's a lot of activity. We're trying to coordinate it. It's been a lot of time, on the tarmac, as we say, in holding patterns, trying to facilitate a broader cognition, absent, folks deciding to pull on the same rope. I don't, we'll be at this another 150 years, but I think we're in good company here. And should we pull on the same rope, I think we'll be fine. The idea that 1619 is biblical and prophet, you are absolutely right. We did have conversations. There was a lot of, I'll just say, missed opportunities, and then diversions again, where the folks that did the heavy lifting were co-opted by the folks in New York with the 1619 project, and it still got mixed up, and the monies never were distributed, and folks still don't know what 1619 means. They certainly don't know what biblical prophecy in Genesis 15, chapter 12 to 14 verse. So I'll stop there. Again, tomorrow date in California is tight: 8:30, 11:30, and 2 o'clock. Online at 8:30, 11:30 at Union Square, 2 o'clock at the Presidio. And to the degree that all is well, everything will be online. If not, it'll be delayed.
Well, the great news is that we do actually have, as you mentioned, we actually have 24 hours if we so choose to use it, Michael. So what my intent is to at least make it available, and then we can decide how we want to use it, chop it up going forward. For anyone whose email I have in here, I'll send you the link so you can actually tune in tomorrow. But the challenge is in working out what I consider to be like the storyboard or the calendar of events. Right now, I know we have confirmed that Michael will be here on the West Coast. Unfortunately, Abram had his uncle passed, so he's been involved with that most of the day. We'll get together later this evening. But for those of you whose email I have, I'll be able to then share with you the information. I'm on a Zoom. I can't talk to you right now.
Yeah. I'm not understanding the disconnect. In California, it's tight. So if you go to the National Park Service, Presidio Trust, it's all there. It's the National Park Presidio Trust. And, what we initially had done, it was been on Eventbrite on Facebook for several months, and that has not changed. Union Square is tight. The challenge is, specific details on who's going first, who's going second. That's not a big deal because most people are going to be there, and protocols for who gets to speak first, changes depending on who shows up, because you have to be respectful to titles and government people and But the times are set. So the biggest challenge is, as we all know, when we put the call out months ago, because this is not the first time. We've been doing this 4 years. Folks don't want to pay for their liberation. Folks want somebody else to do the work and not get. That's where we're at. The National Park Service, their staff has been cut dramatically, and so there's no sense in pushing hard on them to do, because they don't have the people. The folks that say they Buffalo Soldiers, and their meeting, they met, the motorcycle crew met in Mobile. The folks that's on horses are meeting in South Carolina. But I'll say it like this: they don't give a damn about teaching kids other than their own. And so, and that is, clear, because even though we have a black man running West Point, we have record numbers of women. We don't know the history, and quiet as it's kept, a lot of the people on this call don't know the history, and so we've shared that for quite some time on these calls, even to the point where you know the Interior Department secretary, the Secretary of Agriculture that handles forestry, you know, at the highest level of government, we're engaged in paying the freight and paying to teach. And for whatever reason, after doing all that, it's still, you know, damn near condescending, some of the responses and the lack of respect for the work.
Mike,
Hurt my feelings. And I'll wrap it up. You're not gonna hurt my feelings, but the idea that the work that has been done, I don't believe has been looked at, and the schedule that is in place hasn't been looked at. So the idea that, you know, at tomorrow's event, there's still holes, it's because we're trying to do more than what the event was initially supposed to be.
What I was going to suggest, if you can share your screen, you keep talking about this multi-page presentation of the Buffalo Soldiers. Are you able to share your screen and just walk us through it, or not?
No, no. And so what I'll do is tomorrow, when the superintendent of the national parks for the Buffalo Soldiers, when the superintendent of West Point, when the National Park Service that has those responsibilities, I would hope that there's the same sort of conversation with these people, and, you know, the same sort of conversation with your elected officials, especially in Kansas and Louisiana, where they were created. I mean, we're good in California. That's how we have a Buffalo Soldier study. It's 80 pages. I think we shared that. And the reason why it was released and the reason why the highway sign was put up is because somebody's been doing the work. So I'm just saying, at some point, you know, even just looking at information, you know, is you know, if you're trying to give to McDonald's, you know how to Google it. If it's time to get to, you know, some chitlins, you can find that. But when it's time to find your freedom, you need it handed to you on a platter. So I'm gonna leave it alone before I get upset. The idea, and as Herschel say, pull out my flamethrower, because I am a veteran and I don't want to. I got too much to do in a short time to do it. So let's go offline and see if we can gather the data and expand tomorrow to be what a lot of people want it to be.
All right, very good. Well, with that, Bernice is out. John, you have your hand raised. If it's short, let's do it.
Yes, thank you, thank you. But request, Michael, did he go? Can you put the link to the park that he was saying? He said it so quick. Maybe not everyone got it. Can you put it in the chat, Andrew? And then what I was going to share as well is the Nicodemus. I put it in the chat, but just because a lot of people may not have heard or know some of the stories between Native America and African people, and what's happened with the Buffalo Soldier, etc. Nicodemus, there's a story that actually talks about how the Native Americans helped the town of Nicodemus settlers to survive and taught them a lot of the Native American ways. And that actual story is what is in the chat. So I thought you guys might want to look at that. And one other quick statistic that I found interesting from the video that he shared on my Facebook, Michael Roberts, Harris, sorry, is that over that the Buffalo Soldier was 20% of the cavalry. There were only 10, and 2 of those divisions were Buffalo Soldiers. So 20%, and also they were sent to the most harsh regions and battles. So they were they were fierce warriors, which is why the Cheyenne originally gave them the name of the Buffalo Soldier, and is the way the stories go, Native American wise. So anyway, just wanted to share those pieces real quick, Andrew. Oh, Andrew's gone. So Mary, you have your hand up. So till Andrew gets back, go ahead real quick.
Okay. Thank you so much, John. I wanted actually to react to what Michael said, that when it comes to community freedom or what, people tend not to get interested. And I have always wondered whether we should maybe, although we don't want to be like these other places, but you usually see that people who have been in the service, they take it both positively and also tend to navigate so well on that. What am I saying here is that it reminded me when we were celebrating July 4th. People were like, oh, well, we don't, and again, conversations are the only way we can be able to work on these hard shells that we usually don't. So people said, oh, well, we are not interested in July 4th. I said, why? Said, no, what are we celebrating? I said, but it is independence, which happened in 1776. That is the country's independence. Even me, who got naturalized the other day, I am inheriting that history. So irrespective of how you are part of that history, the Juneteenth. So I said, well, maybe this year we should be, because now we have Juneteenth officiated. Because remember, with the what I would call freedom or victory, once it is not celebrated, it goes theoretically just in archives, just like we have very many victories as you are talking of Buffalo Soldier. So maybe one way of doing that is getting somebody sharing that on that particular day we are remembering, so that people also get acquainted with that. And we go on with the different events, because you know, there are a lot of things that I identify US with my country before I became a national here. Some of the history we share. And that has also kind of made me feel at home, because, well, it's no different from where I'm coming from, much, despite the development. But other social structures, it's still constrained in some ways that way, because we usually have two independences. You have the 1962 independence, and we have Liberation Day. So those who support independence, 1962, celebrate on July 1st, which is Rwanda's national independence. Those who support liberation, which was the return of the majority of displaced Tutsis who had left the country, celebrate 1994 Liberation Day, which is July 4th. So a combination of the two, but you can see that kind of saying, oh, no, I'm celebrating this one. Oh, no, I'm celebrating. So what we are trying now to do is that let us celebrate when the independence was granted, because in some case, that was a population which was granted independence, whether it was one of tribe, but it was an independence granted to some of the nationals of Rwanda. And then let us also celebrate 1994, because like it or not, that was also an independence to the Tutsis who returned back to their country. So that way, you tend to please all, you tend to reconcile what is making the whole journey harder. That's what I wanted to contribute to. Thank you, John.
Well, thanks for contributing. And I don't know where Andrew went, but if no one else has anything else to share, Bernice, if you could honor us with a prayer and carry us in through the days.
We're here, Brother Moss. Most holy God, the Father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, we come before you at this time, and we lay our burdens at your feet. For we realize that you are God and that you are able to handle them all. Because, Father, we realize the battle is not mine, but it is yours. And I must lean and depend on you. We are asking you to give us strength, to give us courage, give us wisdom, give us knowledge. Help us to work together one with the other, that we may succeed in these dealings that you have set before us. We realize that you have already preordained and that it is a destiny that we must go towards. We cannot let anything stop us from reaching that destiny, for you are God and God alone. So we come to you in prayer, crying out to you as your children, asking you to give us the strength, the courage, and the know-how. These and other blessings we ask in your son, Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Aho.
And Ashe. Thank you.
Andrew, you're back, or is your system still frozen up? See your picture.
And by the way, I did not receive the chat last night. I don't know if anything went out, but I did not receive anything.
Well, thanks for reminding me. It's in my inbox and I haven't pushed the button. So I'll send out the chat.
Okay.
For the last 3 days, I have all in my inbox. So I'll send them out today.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to wind this
Thank
up.
you.
Thank you so much. I'm having just computer challenges today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Blessings, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.